All right, we will call to order the City of Ojai Parks and Rec Commission meeting for Thursday, June 2nd. Rise for Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Gilbert, obviously is absent. Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Intner.
Here.
Chair Dutter.
Here.
Commissioner Firestone.
Here.
And once again, Commissioner Gilbert is absent, and as we know, Commissioner Roddick resigned, and Mr. Ford, Commissioner Ford's term has ended. So we'll talk later in the meeting about those replacements.
Yes, definitely. All right, thank you. Public comments, I don't have any. Along. Presentations, Amber. Ojai Day.
Hi, thank you for having me at this nice point in the Ojai Day planning process. We just recently got our Ojai Day applications out and got our very first one, so we're really excited about that. It's a little later than normal, but I'm very confident that we're going to have a really nice year. There's been a lot of interest, which is always very exciting, kind of feeling the effects of having the economy turn around. I'd like to think that it's because Ojai Day is just so magical and everybody wants to come. I think there's a small amount of that and a large part that people are just doing a lot better than they have been in the past. So, and we're excited to have some new vendors and old vendors alike coming out. A lot more interest from Ojai this year, which is really fun. And we have introduced an additional 20% discount to artist, handmade, and commercial vendors from the Ojai Valley who would like to participate. So that applies to artist, handmade, and commercial only. And it's with just proof, like any piece of mail that has their incoming address in the Ojai Valley. So that's anything from Casita Springs to the East End. So we're hoping that will be an additional, like, please come be a part of this because it's our community's festival and we want as many people to participate as possible. And in accordance with that, we're continuing our general practice of if you're from the Ojai Valley and you want to participate, your business wants to participate, your organization wants to participate, and you don't have the funds to pay, there's always a way to contribute. And so we do a volunteer in lieu of payment, and that is at $12.50 an hour per volunteer. So if you have $125 worth of vendor fee that you would be responsible for paying, you'd need 10 volunteer hours. That means 2 volunteers for 5 hours, 5 volunteers for 2 hours. There's always a way for somebody to participate. So, and we like to involve as many people as possible. So we have made a couple of changes to the map a little bit, not the layout, but we have changed kind of how we're structuring things a little bit. Ojai Avenue Primary is staying the same with the large blocks, two large blocks with kind of a gap in the middle for the information booth and for people to mingle and kind of get together. But instead of having the teen area and then on one end blocked up and the other end blocked up with just like nonprofits and Go Green only, we are maintaining Go Green at the end with the bike valet that the Green Coalition will be putting on again, which is lovely, with the bike racks that were made by a Boy Scout troop, which is really fun. But then in addition, once it's past that point, and then the block that the teen area used to occupy will be called Ojai Avenue Secondary. So it'll be more of a mix of booths and types and all that to kind of create some continuity as you move throughout the event. And then in addition to that, the Gypsy Gazebo area type has kind of gone away and just more opened up more to a general marketplace kind of feel. So it's not just so limited to one type of vendor, if that makes sense. So we're giving that a try and we'll see how it goes. The intention behind that is to make more environments and more cost structure available to more available and attractive to more people. So that you can kind of pick your flavor as far as that's concerned. If you're selling T-shirts that you hand embroider and hand screen, and you just really want to be in a natural environment, you can be in the park. You don't have to only sell crystals to be in the park anymore. So that's kind of how that's going. We're really excited about a new project this year. It's kind of my pet. I'm so excited. It's we're calling it the Ojai. They're just the small stages. So they're just little kind of 4x4 platforms to place around the event and kind of sound dead zones for individual and duets to sit and play. So because we've always had people at Ojai Day with their case open, just sitting on the sidewalk, and it's great, but we want to include those people, and we want to give them a place to really showcase their talent. So we're converting old pallets into little platforms in the recreation department. My colleagues are going to kill me. They're like, we're running out of storage, Amber. Stop building things. We had 22 brand new umbrellas, market umbrellas, come in today. So eventually that Quonset hut will all be Ojai Day. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. It won't. Don't look at me, Allison. So we're just really, really excited. We got I just confirmed today, a brand new stage manager for the teen stage. So I think that's going to breathe some new life into an area that had kind of not always gotten the attention it deserved in the past couple of years. We've always had great stage managers, but it was always me kind of trying to hodgepodge together and being like, here, come run this. So I think it's going to be really fun. I'm just really excited for Ojai Day this year. I think it's going to be great. So questions, comments, concerns?
So the teen area hasn't moved. You're just adding more vendors there that are different than before.
We are not labeling it a teen area.
Okay.
So teen things are going to be happening on the stage, but it doesn't just only have to be, skateboard this and, I don't know what thing.
So the teen elements won't leave, but
No.
you're adding other things to it.
Yes.
I'm trying to picture in my mind where
It's
where
hard.
going.
It's hard to tell a vendor who wants to come and wants to sell something really cool that it's the teen area, because in their mind they're imagining a bunch of 16-year-olds who are there to eat frozen yogurt and not actually see what they're presenting.
So
if
this
that
is
makes
driven
sense.
more by the vendor side of things than the activity-driven side of things.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just trying to wrap
Yeah.
my head around. So
It is-
really, it'll have a lot of the elements that it's had, and that will still all go on, but we're adding a broader spectrum of vendors to that area.
Yes.
And retitling it as a way to not
Pigeonhole
make
it
them
quite so much.
Yeah, so that they want to come over in that area.
Right.
Okay.
To
I'm just
breathe
trying
to breathe life in.
So you could still have a skate event. These things could all happen down there.
Absolutely.
We're just having a different set of vendors coming down there as well. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And they can get those applications on the website
At ojaiday.com, and they can also get a paper copy here at City Hall or at the Recreation Department. So
Do the people that are playing on the 4x4 stages, or do they need to apply?
they will apply. They'll apply with Jeff Uzzle, and I'm working on getting all that information up on the website.
Okay.
So that we can really showcase them and put them in
Right.
the marketing. And
It's not just like first come, first serve kind of
Right.
style. Okay. Just
we
making
could have a first come, first serve stage. That might be kind of fun.
And then the former Los Caporales parking lot is still going to be like one of the beer areas, and with the main stage is.
That's a really interesting question. I've been working with the Lions Club a little bit. Last year, we had a bit of a complication with that area. We had a new inspector with the ABC license who said last year that was the last year we were going to be able to have the beer garden in that location because of its proximity to an existing alcohol license, especially considering that alcohol license is for a permanent facility that also serves hard alcohol. And then having a beer and wine temporary permit, occupying the same space doesn't quite work for them. So I haven't spoken with the owner of that facility about if something's coming, when that thing is coming, or what's happening. And so we're not sure quite yet where the beer and wine garden is going to fit into the footprint. But it will definitely exist somewhere, and it'll be great.
Sounds good. And then is the food area going to get any bigger? Is it going to be kind of the same?
We're
General
anticipating around the same size.
Okay.
Yeah, more we are ordering one more table because we anticipate a lovely food court that people want to sit and linger and stay. So
Definitely.
yeah.
What are all those 20 umbrellas going to, though, Amber?
So 6 of those umbrellas are going to the teen stage audience, and 6 of them are going to the Ojai's own stage audience, and 10 of them are going to the food court. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably order 5 more, one for each of the small stages. Good thinking, thanks.
And word is another restaurant is going into that space. I just don't know when. I haven't heard when either, so
Interesting.
just so you know.
Oh, that is good to know. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And so that's kind of where we're at with Ojai Day this year.
Any other questions? No? All right.
Good.
Thanks, Amber. We're excited.
Well, thank you very much. And we're always, this is the perfect time. If people have new ideas and their organization wants to do something fun and special, this is the best time of year to do it because there's actually time to incorporate and plan. So if you know anybody who's like looking for, their organization's looking for a unique and new way to showcase itself and they want to do something cool, we want to make it happen for them. So please feel free to reach out. My email address is coordinator@ojaiday.com. It's the best way to get a hold of me. So,
Great.
all right. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks,
Have a
Amber.
great evening.
You too. All right. Police Department report.
Police Department report. Sergeant Brian Coppinjan with the Ojai Station here. Been up here about 3 years now. Prior to that, 4 years in the 90s, but most of you, well, probably weren't here at that time. I'm here for Sergeant Mike Ferguson. I'll give you a little update on things going on. I've been on dawn shift for about the last 3 months, so I've been doing the night patrol with our parks. Our city units here are active in Libby Park, also Sarasota. Get over to Seoul. Seoul's a little big to walk, but with the camp host over there, we don't have as many problems over at Seoul. Things have been pretty minimal in the parks with our transient population lately. We haven't been having as much problems as we did probably maybe 6 months ago. Some of those, that's due because a lot of the kind of troublemakers are sort of locked up right now, which is helpful. So we always hope that they stay locked up through some of the events you've just been talking about as well. Skate park, we have people loitering around after hours, but we're getting them out of there also. That tends to be the older group. The younger group we very seldom have a problem with, and that's pretty much during the daytime. So that's been going well. My guys are there all the time. Like I said, they're doing a lot of foot patrols, which really helps, so getting up on foot. And you'll see me sometimes, I'll just go park over there when I see some kids hanging out over the weekend, and they find somewhere else to go, so it's usually helpful. So this last weekend, we had the Mountain to Beach Marathon. 2,500 full marathoners participated. Next year's marathon is already scheduled for next year's Memorial Day weekend again, so hopefully they'll get more. I don't know if that 2,500, is that more than the year before? Does anyone know? I know it was a pretty good showing, and it seemed like the shuttle system worked really well.
Yeah, from what I heard, it is more.
Okay.
But that's kind of their max.
Yeah.
My
Oh, okay.
understanding is
Because I know it's a
they're-
qualifier, isn't it a qualifier for like the Boston?
Yeah, it's one of the
Marathon?
fastest qualifiers.
Yeah, so,
Downhill.
yeah, nice.
It's still 26 miles.
Yeah.
Still
Still-
26.2.
Still a trek, absolutely. And I believe, it was all foggy this year, so that's probably good for the runners in that sense. Vandalism suspects that had spray painted Ojai City as well as the Red Horse Plaza down there, and they taunted the police, said, "Catch us if we can." Well, we caught them. So I think there were 3 arrested in that, so hopefully through juvenile court we'll end up getting some restitution and payback for that. Also an interesting case, it was just kind of on the fringe of the city over there. We had a mail theft. A guy got arrested for mail theft, and he comes back to the very same neighborhood, and he goes to the mailbox, and there's a business over there, like an engineering firm or something. I think he was going specifically for their mail. Well, 2 of the employees saw him and chased him down across that field, across the Nordhoff, and we got there and took him into custody. So now he's got attempt identity theft charges as well because of his priors. So he'll be getting a little. His bail's $130,000. So he probably won't be getting out because that's what he was trying to get his money from credit cards to have money, so he won't have enough for bail. And the department is currently planning the 4th of July events for this year, which are very similar to last year. So your next meeting, Ferguson will be here with that, so I'll have more information. Any question from anybody? Like I said, I've been on dawn shift, so if it happened during the dark, I could probably help you in the daytime. I luckily I get a sunburn on my days off, otherwise I become like Twilight, I'm like really, really light. People are like, "Summer's here, what's the matter with you, officer?" So Anything else?
No.
Oh, thank you
Great.
very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I get to come here like once every 3 years, so it's fun. I think I was here like a year ago, so
Yeah.
it's fun. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. All right, Public Works report. Mr. Grant is not here.
Yeah, I'm going to speak on some of the topics that you wanted to hear about on his behalf.
Okay.
So Libby Park restrooms. So you'll see that that is proposed on the capital improvement plan. We did have staff discussion though about a temporary fix to those restrooms, and I brought up the fact again that the restrooms at the lower Libby tennis courts, no, as we've talked about in the past, no doors on the stalls. The dividing walls are very low. So hopefully there'll be a plan to do a Band-Aid fix on those temporarily. And I know Music Festival probably doesn't use those lower Libby restrooms very often, but we have Weil Academy down there daily. We have our own youth tennis program down there daily, and just
And the
general
tennis-
park
the tennis
users.
tournament.
And of course the tennis tournament. So, but the lower, well, both upper and lower Libby restrooms are on the capital improvement plan, and we'll have to look and see what year it's projected for. It's in there. As we go over it, we'll look and see. But I'll continue to make a push with Public Works to do a temporary fix. And again, I think the question is how much time and money do you invest in that in relation to when the replacement or upgrade or new restrooms will be put in place. So I don't know, but we'll continue to push for doors and raised partitions, raising the partitions in those restrooms, because I went down there this week and took photos just to give impact and sent them over
Right.
to our Public Works Director just to show the magnitude or the seriousness of the situation. But they've been that way for quite some time, but
Long
it doesn't make it okay just because they've been that way for a long time. It would be nice to get them fixed. But that project is on one of the projects on the capital improvement plan. And the other is the playground. So I've got show and tell. I'm going to try to do a show and tell for our going forward for all our Parks and Rec Commission meetings. So what you'll see in this show and tell are shade sails that went up in the park today, and also the brick walkway, which most of you I think know is complete.
Yes.
So you'll see photos of that, and we can't get it on television. But shade sails are up, except over the top lot. Apparently that shade sail didn't come in. So it's going to...
Just over the swings.
The swings.
The one over like the,
It's a small piece that goes over a pre-existing structure that's
Right.
built in.
Do we have an ETA on that one at all?
No. Nope.
Do we not know it came in?
That
There
is
was
a
a mix
totally-
up in the ordering, maybe.
It's a totally separate, it came as a piece of that structure.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can't find it or we didn't get it, but it is totally separate from the larger ones that went in, which were a special order situation. And that's just, those are specific to that piece of structure that come with it.
Here's some show and tell. You'll get those photos, and that's...
We didn't know today.
It's
I know
been
you can't
discussed a
answer that.
variety of times, I don't know.
Yeah, if I do...
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I don't have...
Nobody checked.
It was just mentioned to me that it didn't come in, and there wasn't a
It isn't really,
specific reason.
it isn't really associated with this particular shade project. It really is associated with the original project because when we bought those swings, we bought it with a fixed in-place system. And these ones that just went in are all custom-made to that exact location, different vendor and everything. So I think the question is, did we get them originally? I don't know. And if so, where did they go? I still don't know. But to fix that one isn't to go, I don't think you go to this vendor, you go back to the
Back to the
playground people that we
original.
bought it
Yeah.
from and we buy the
It
pieces.
sounds like that has happened, or
Okay.
at least the phone call has been made. to
Right,
say, hey,
so that
we're missing.
solution is kind of
Yeah.
separate from this.
Okay.
Yes. So what else? Oh, so the misters should be late June, early July. That's when they'll go in. So I've been told.
Okay.
Yep. Some other things that are coming in, the new trash cans a while back, one of the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, quite a while ago, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, we saw samples of the trash cans and picnic tables that were going to be coming in. And so those should be put in the arcade area in Libby Park prior to July 4th. That's the plan. And then more, Sarasota Park and other parts of the city after that time. But before July 4th, the plan is to get those new trash and recycle receptacles replaced in the arcade in Libby Park. We just found out yesterday there was a pre-construction meeting for the picnic shelters. Wednesday? Yesterday? Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yesterday.
It's a hard week, that
Yeah.
Monday being on.
Yesterday. Yeah. And at that meeting, it was announced that the construction of the dumpster enclosure is going to start on Friday. I heard there might be a slight delay on that timetable now, but they said it's happening well before the shelters will go in. As you may recall, the shelters are scheduled for end of August, early September. So there's pre-construction approvals, pre-construction planning to go on, but those shelters will be late August, early September, and from what I've been told too, there'll be power source to each one of the shelters, which will be nice. We talked about the barbecue locations for each one of those shelters, as we discussed way back, that they would be a barbecue at each shelter too. And the other two larger shelters would be completely demoed, actually. The last one being the one in Area 2 closest to the restroom. So, yeah. Those projects are moving forward, but trash enclosures, either this Friday or I'm guessing now potentially early next week.
We should have photos done by the next meeting.
We will have a show and tell. Thank you. Yeah.
What about the art installations at Libby?
Oh, still waiting on, maybe Sage, a little more about that?
The reflecting ball.
Right.
Yeah, and
So
they
they're
were
waiting for the
originally,
ball.
they decided at one point they might do them separately, but it really didn't make sense to do them separately. It makes more sense to bring that huge crane in once, because they use that parking lot at the post office, and it's a pretty big, so I don't have a date, I don't know.
No, the
think
lizard
there's-
and the ladybug
Are ready.
But
And the
yeah,
rest of
it
the
is-
components, I believe, of the archery,
And
it's
the
just
arch.
that one component.
They reordered it domestically. correct?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, the second time.
I thought it was still coming from China.
I don't think so, I
Oh,
think they,
That's what I was told last, but, anyway, that's why, it's to try to do it all at once. But yeah, an actual drop dead date, specific date, we don't have on it.
but it'll be an exciting day when it happens.
It will be exciting
All
day.
that happening.
You will all get an announcement. Once again, there'll be a show and tell.
Yeah, I was at the park today. The shade sails look great.
Oh, you.
It was a nice day for them,
It
too.
was, yes, good timing.
Strong sun.
Yeah. Good, well, I'm glad you're out there keeping, you can bring show and tell too.
Couple things I have regarding the park.
Yeah.
If we can ask Greg to possibly have the misters in before July 4th weekend. I know he said end of June, early July, but obviously just with the holiday, the city's going to be busy.
Sure.
Not that he doesn't know that.
Yeah,
just
he's
gentle reminders. That's all I'm
Of
asking.
course, we don't want to make any promises we can't keep,
course.
because he did say late June, early August, so that could mean
Early-
June 30th or
early
July
July.
1st or 2nd. So
Just
I
throwing
will,
it out there.
just a friendly prompting.
It
to
is a
say,
lovely
hey,
idea, though.
Before 4th of July,
Yeah.
it would be nice.
It would be. As well as the brick path looks great. Were those pictures of the path taken today?
Yes. So your,
Not all of them.
the close-up ones?
Some of them I took last week. Some of them I got from Softglaze. I don't know when he took his.
Anyways, my point, the reason I'm asking is I was there Tuesday night, I think it was. And the bricks look great. The grout in between leaves something to be desired. I don't know if you looked at it today when you were there.
I didn't
but,
look too closely.
Next time you guys are there, check it out. There's a lot of holes in it. There's a lot of missing pieces. It looks like, come 6 months, the bricks are gonna be rattling around in there. So, just maybe something we can bring up to Greg, and if he's the expert, if it's gonna be fine, then great. But it does look.
So yours
like
is both an
for a
aesthetic
craftsman.
and construction issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks
It-
pretty poor.
Yeah,
I will
it
say.
looks like it's gonna
Yeah.
fall apart
It does.
before too long. Okay, I'll
Especially
bring
with,
it.
strollers and wheelchairs and bikes and everything else going over that.
He will get a mister and a grouting,
Thank you.
friendly prompt.
And then as far as the restrooms, I think the desire was to have a larger discussion on the restrooms at our last meeting, beyond
Yeah,
just an
tell me.
update. More
of
more
a-
specifics as to what are we costing out, what are we
there's a
looking to do?
I had notes on there, sorry,
Okay.
about I guess it's budgeted for total cost of 200,000.
Yeah, no,
Just
I'm,
looking more
we're
at
hoping that he'll
16,
come and present to us what he's putting out there for expectations and what's gonna be done, very specifically. Are
Okay.
you just going to remodel finishes? Are we, what is the
Oh,
scope
what
of what
is
we're
the scope
doing?
of the project,
Because I think
yeah.
that was what we were, at our last meeting, we were hoping to agendize that as a specific discussion about restrooms. As it is a bigger part of that park, and as it is a piece of how well some of those other functions happen. Like, the size of, just
And
a
I don't
bigger
know if
discussion.
Greg has all that info,
You
but
did,
but
you did, in your defense, if you need one, you did ask for it to be as an agendized item, but it wasn't ready for that.
That's totally fine.
Okay.
I just don't
that
want it
depth
to
of-
get.
That depth of discussion.
We have this problem of when we have the discussion, sometimes it's too early, but this real sweet spot is often about this wide. I don't want to miss it.
Okay.
I don't want to get to this spot where we have a project, and then we're talking about what we don't really think is great about the project, because we talked about it here and it wasn't ready yet, and then it gets
And
to
then
here
we
and it's
miss it.
ready,
Right.
and then
Yeah,
we're
like
pestering.
you-
I want to be proactive about it. The commission was clear that they'd like to have a larger discussion about it, which should come before we get to all the details are in place.
Yeah, you want to essentially know when that time comes about the details of that project, you'd like it to be presented before us.
I
before
think
this
I would like him
commission.
to come talk to us now, before it's too far along, about what his intents are and what the goal is.
Okay.
Which, the expectation with that is not that he's gonna give us the pretty
Whether it's
picture.
location, or like it's the exact location, the same
Well-
location, all that stuff.
I would say
I'm
the
assuming
overall
it
scope
is,
of the
but-
project, yeah.
And the intent, are we
every-
just refurbishing it, are we trying to improve it, are we, what are,
And I know it's
A
scheduled for.
complete tear down, yeah. what
Yeah,
is it?
exactly.
Yeah.
I know it's
I
scheduled
hear
for
you.
fiscal year 16, 17, it looks like, on some of the documents we'll review.
I think it's the right time right now.
Yeah, and I would, hopefully we can get this done sooner than later, and it doesn't languish into next year's tennis tournament, because we've been talking about this, as you said, for quite some time.
The lower one, yes,
Yes,
and
the
then on the
lower-
upper
Lower.
one,
Yeah.
Right, yeah, especially the lower.
it's not
and
just
it-
about the lower.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
But
not- yeah.
the lower one is the,
It certainly could use something
dire
today.
need.
yes, it's the one that started the whole
Yesterday.
thing, so.
I'm actually, I am a bit surprised, not to invite this kind of feedback, but that OVTC, the Ojai Valley Tennis Club, and.
But you know how things
anyone
go,
else
you
would
get
come
used
up-
to it, and you just,
Yeah, that they wouldn't be standing before us or calling the
Yeah.
Public Works or the Recreation Department saying,
or installing them themselves.
this isn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah, or selling themselves, they've put in new lighting,
I know.
water fountains,
I think there are those things,
bleachers.
you walk by it every day, and it just becomes
upgraded
like,
the bleachers, but those two restrooms, they're just a bit embarrassing, actually, I
Yeah.
have to say.
yeah, well, so if Greg can
But
come.
we're all, I don't blame I'm not
Oh,
trying
no.
to play blame game. We're all,
No.
I'm just as guilty as the rest of anyone who's viewed those restrooms.
Yeah, no, I don't, yeah, I don't think
Change.
it's not a huge, I mean, it's something that we'd love to deal with, it's not a huge.
Yeah, it was way before our current Public Works
It's been that
director
way
has been there.
long
and-
time.
Oh, yeah.
Long
It's been
time.
that way for
Long time.
quite
Well,
some
it's
time.
kind of like
Someone's gonna-
Sarzodi was the way it was for a very long time.
Yeah. Someone's
Which
gonna
also
get a
had no
big-
doors.
Yeah, someone's gonna get a big feather in their cap, and I I finally improved those lower restrooms, they can say, I was the one who did it. It's an opportunity. But
All right.
not much else on Public Works. Any other
questions?
things you want to be updated on?
Anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, thanks, Sal.
Sure.
All right, next is approval of minutes from the May 5th meeting. Does anybody have any comments, concerns, corrections? All of the above? Any of the above?
He's,
No?
There's only one item, 8B. It's correct in the, it's something we tabled, and the discussion is correct, so I guess, but the listing of it is incorrect above.
Right.
And so I don't know if we want to continue to list it incorrectly or show those corrections even next time.
are
When
you
it comes
talking
back up.
about on assignments and appointments?
Yeah. Under committee appointments, that's still incorrect on the bullet point. But the discussion below is corrected.
Is, okay.
Do
So
you want me to be
what-
very specific?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
Libby Bowl / Playground is an appointment, and it has my name for that. Those are two different appointments, and they need to be broken out because Adam and I are both on the playgrounds, but I
Okay.
am the only one on
Only
the
one on
Libby.
the bowl. Okay. Sure, we can correct that. We should.
Yeah, it's correct below,
Yeah,
but when we
okay.
bring it back, after it's tabled and we bring it back, we might as well bring that back corrected. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, these were completed by our new records manager.
It's a lovely
Cheryl
job.
Shaw. Yes.
Yeah.
Really good job.
Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve the Thursday, May 5th, 2016 minutes with the amendment and changes noted.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion is approved.
Great. All right. Discussion items, 8A, Mr. Livingston. Thanks for waiting.
That's okay. I'm here to entertain any questions you have. Before the meeting started, I provided you a schedule, which is an upgrade from what I was able to provide last week or month when I was in here. Just to make sure we all understand how this thing's laid out, the first section on the top is projects that are being funded in part or in full by the rec surplus money. The second section is other parks projects that are not being funded by that surplus money. And then we get a total down below. And then it shows where the revenue sources are for these particular projects. And down on the bottom, I actually gave you our projected balances for the surplus in the rec department. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have or take any notes and get back to you if I can't answer some things. So I'm just at your service here.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, we're just grappling with the numbers.
Yeah, believe me, I get it. My intention was to get this to you last week, but it's all kinds of things I got going on right now, so I was able to
So
put it
while
together.
while they're looking, Rudy, so on fiscal year, for example, fiscal year 16, 17.
Yes, sir.
You took what the current surplus was and kind of divided that out through the listed projects that are on the
Sort of.
going forward. So,
Uh,
for example, the Boyd courtyard shade, the 5,000, is that, so that was the total cost of that project, and that's put there, and then you've got the picnic area canopy and pad
Yeah, which a
at
portion of that.
25.
A portion of that's being funded out of rec fund money, a portion of, the significant portion of it is being funded out of other
CDBG.
CDBG, and some of it even potentially AB 939 money.
Yeah, but we just took portions of that surplus and kind of.
Well, no,
rotated.
not exactly. The way this is actually approached is just the opposite. We looked at what the projects are out there, and most of this work has been done by Greg, actually, and I've worked with him trying to make the pieces all fit together and everything. But his approach basically is to look at and say, okay, here are the projects that we have out there that we anticipate are forthcoming, and the time frame in which we anticipate them to occur. And then looking at it and saying, okay, what funding sources do we have to provide to be able to take care of these things? And so we look to things that we look to things that are more in line with what, we think the rec surplus money could or should be spent for, and other things, and kind of applying the different pieces in there to make sure that it fits in the different years. Some years there's going to be a little bit more taken out, and some years there's a little bit less taken out. And part of that is the nature of the different projects that are in there. So it really isn't a thing of, well, let's just go plug it in. It's really looking at the projects and then saying, okay, what are the pieces that we can use to help this project go, to fund the funding sources on that. And some of that will be funding sources from donations. Some of it's going to be grants. Some of it's going to be the surplus money. Some of it's going to be general, the general capital improvement project money.
Okay.
I have a specific question. The transfer in is looking at 15-16 is an actual number at this point?
For 15-16, yeah, because that's the amount that was transferred in. Well, I haven't actually done.
It's actually two numbers, right?
That's the transfer in from that's the total surplus from last fiscal year.
Right.
And
okay.
so that's get transferred in the subsequent
So it's a real
year.
number.
Correct.
That we moved over. And then in the next year, you're projecting 30,000 each year. And what is that?
Those are just a minimum level that one thing that I am very strict about when I do budgeting is I do not want to be overly optimistic.
Totally understand.
Right.
And because I would much rather have a low number and have plan at this level and then get some more money and be able to do some more things than to say, hey, we're going to do here, and we can't make it and we fall way short. So we plugged in 30,000 a year over the next 3 years, just as kind of a baseline, because Sophocles swears to me that he's going to be tripling that, and
Well, it all depends on the assumptions you're making.
Well,
It depends on the budgeting, and it depends on
Yeah,
your assumptions in your
absolutely.
budget, what's going to come out of that. And if those assumptions change, that number changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what we put those numbers in there, feeling that was a reasonably, conservative estimate on things. That
Okay.
Probably, and if for some reason those numbers don't materialize, then we have to make adjustments on what projects can be done in the future.
So, but the only transfers in for this particular idea here is going to be those surpluses.
Correct. That's on the rec surplus area here.
Right, okay.
I mean, we're transferring money into Fund 31 in
Exactly,
general.
to do
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
stuff, okay.
And that comes with that section down, that second section where, we got 1.7 million total, and of that total, 1.5 million of that is coming from.
Other revenues.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
great. Okay, thank you.
So on the second portion here, it says parks not funded by the rec surplus. On the bottom, you have $40,000 from the skate park for the lights.
Mm-hmm.
That portion you said could come from various sources, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Could be donations, it could be grants, could be,
no problem.
yeah.
So the part above is the funded by the surplus. Again,
Yes.
And then we have 25K for the skate park lights. Say fiscal year 16, 17, it's in there. Say February, doesn't look like they're going to have their 2/3. What happens to our 20K? Can that keep rolling over?
Oh, yeah.
For said project?
Yeah, the money's not going to disappear. It's there, and so, I mean, we could look at it, and if it's the desire of the commission or whatever to specifically fund a particular project with that money, we can certainly work with that. Ultimately, council has the final say on any of these things.
Of course.
So, but yeah, if we get to that point and look and say, we're going to have to push that a year, then we will revise that, and we won't be taking that money out unless there's another, worthy project, if you will, a needed project that would be, applicable for those funds. Yeah.
Because this proposed on the in your agenda packet, on that first page of the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan, do you have that before you, in front of you?
That's the one you got from Greg? Do you mind, I don't have that.
I have the whole packet. That's that one.
If I need to answer something, I'll.
Yeah, or I can give you, I have some extra agenda packets here.
I know that.
I'll just give it to you.
I know that schedule fairly well.
Yeah, I bet you do. Since you created it, didn't you?
Well,
Or is that Greg?
This is
Oh,
Greg
between you and
created it,
Greg?
Greg and I
Okay.
made it.
So on that, you'll see the skate park lights down there, proposed 16, 17 for 60,000 right at the bottom of that
Right.
column, or parks, where it says parks total,
Yeah, 60,000.
right above that 711 total.
And it looks like we've actually bumped that number up $5,000. That's why I was gonna comment.
Well,
So-
just-
So there,
yeah.
there are some, Greg and I have made some updates on this, because I believe this one has the basketball area, that old number that we had,
Yeah, the outdoor
the
basketball.
outdoor basketball
court.
court, was it,
I don't think we.
12.5?
updated-
We doubled it on the new and improved version here, because we figured that it's probably gonna take more than $25,000 to get
And
the whole thing
and you've
done.
actually updated it to be in, like, I'm assuming that's futsal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There was the one
Yeah, it
thing
says
we.
football court.
Yeah, so there are some minor updates. If there are discrepancies between the sheet I gave you and what you see on this one that's in your agenda package, the one I gave you are the updated numbers. Greg and I have gone through, and we've made several modifications based upon, our discussion with Softly saying, hey, that's not gonna be enough money, that basketball one,
Yeah.
and, specific, that's not gonna be enough money. And there are several other things that we've done, so trying to look at things, we realize, we think we have enough money to do things right on a little bit more than some of them, and so we updated the numbers to really put the proper amounts in there, rather than trying to scrape by at a, bare minimum.
And this is going to go before the budget workshop on June 14th. Will this be presented to council on that date? Or-
We've already presented the CIP plan to council. We've provided it to them. We have not had any comments or updates from them, other than in our finance committee, or whatever we call audit budget committee meeting a couple weeks ago, and there weren't really any comments there. The first budget, workshop we have is on the 14th. So if there are any specific concerns or comments or questions, or whatever you have, it would be good to have somebody from the commission there at council to share those thoughts and those ideas on the 14th. And then we will also have another workshop on the 28th at 6 p.m. And if needed, we will have an additional one the following week. 30th. We have to have the budget adopted by the 30th. So right now, we have a plan for the 14th and for the 28th, and then if we have to, we will spill over onto the 30th. But if you have, certainly you can have comments, and you can provide those to me through Sophocles or whatever, or you can bring them directly to council, and Greg and I can rework the numbers, because I'm already going to be bringing some requested changes to them on the CIP and some other things.
And just kind of moving through onto the next page, I gave you that, Rudy, on the page 2 of 5, the Sarasota north lot, south lot, are those, just, in your conversation with Greg, are those realistic for fiscal year 16, 17, next fiscal year?
Yeah.
Or was that,
We
I haven't.
believe that we have,
In funding for it.
As of last week, we believe that we will have sufficient funding to be able to move forward with some additional overlays, parking lots, and things that we were hoping to hold back on. There have been a few things that have occurred in the last week that may impact that. There's going to be some additional strain on the budget that I'm going to have to try and work through right now. Things that were out of our control that are just they are what they are. So,
Has
but yes, the answer is yes, they are planned.
Okay.
This is that's an interesting thing you bring up. 'Cause,
Well, because I know what you might, well, go ahead, I'll let you. Maybe I don't know.
well, the parking lot, as part of the Sarasota master plan, one of the things is to dramatically rework the parking lot so that there's better flow and they work better. And that north lot is the part that's really, doesn't work very well. And as it is not even resurfacing, as it is just, it's not, so but this is I'm actually having a realization about this process that's interesting, is you're here talking to us, which is wonderful, and you've done the work with Greg, but we really need Greg here. Because you were doing a lovely job answering the questions, and this all lays out just right, but the priorities and how you get to these is really Greg coming to you, and so we're missing this piece, which is Greg coming and talking to us about putting the first part together that then goes to you. And so I think that that's a larger discussion, not for you, but with Greg, which is, are we going to spend $50,000 to redo a parking lot? How much would it cost to do the project we want to do before we even start that? And looking at it from that side, which has nothing to do, this is
no.
all good and all looks right.
No,
But-
it
And
is,
I totally
But
agree with you.
we're kind of backwards here. And
If we're gonna have to, do, 3 years from now, we're gonna have to go and do a major, revamp of everything, does it make sense to spend?
Right, or
you
even
know,
5, or what's
or
that
whatever
number?
it is, yeah. I
Exactly.
mean,
It's
if it's
kind
gonna be
of-
20 years down the road, well, then do it. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
But I think what we need is Greg. Greg needs to be here, and we need
Yeah.
to talk to Greg, and he needs to be on our next agenda. And I think what you've given us is perfect, and it creates the ability to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And I like it, and most of it reflects a lot of the things that we already have on our other list.
Yes.
That you don't always see, but that Greg has seen. So I think.
well, my, to be honest, my gut reaction is to say, gosh, we've all been in that lot. I
Yes.
believe, or most of us have. It really.
It's awful.
It is, and it really needs to be redone. And I know that the flow isn't right, and the back, when you
size and, yeah, all
the
that,
size, all that is true. But my fear is for a master plan, which is wonderful and will increase the beauty and the flow of the lot and the park.
I'm not saying to do this. What I'm saying is
I
we
know.
have to have the discussion. We're not making
Yeah.
a decision. We're just
Right.
trying to make
No, I-
educated, we're trying to move forward with.
Absolutely.
To make that decision, what information, what would you need, what would it take to get that information? Because we don't have that information, and okay, we now have a best guesstimate without spending a lot of money on it. Okay, it's gonna be 30 years. Okay, we gotta do that parking lot. But going through that, I think, is an exercise we need to do to be prudent.
Absolutely. And that's what I always say is that, okay, the CIP plan is a 5-year picture, as opposed to, we try to set a budget for the next coming year, which is we're trying to get, as we get closer, we try to get it more set in stone, so to speak. And I know the parking lots, I know he's planning on doing them, but that's a very good point. So when things like that come up, then we have to reevaluate, and that's the beauty of having a 5-year CIP plan. So we can move things around, and it works out and it'll be fine. The real thing is, we make sure that we have the budget dollars there so that we can do the projects when we need to do them. If this is something that needs to be postponed, then those budget dollars can be rolled forward to, to when we need them, or applied and then using the subsequent year's dollars. So yeah, it's a fluid process that needs to happen based on better information. Absolutely, you're totally on point
I
on
think
that.
that we need to work here on when the communication happens and in what order.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, before we go into that, any more questions for Mr. Livingston?
I've jumped.
I don't want to take his
I know,
time
I've
on
jumped,
it.
yeah.
No, that was a good point. That was a valid point, though. It really was. So and that's how I'm trying to make the budgeting process work better for all of us.
Yeah.
So that, because it's a tool for us.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
It's not a restraint for, it's a tool that we use to make things happen.
And this is very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah,
A little bit better than last
This-
time.
This
Very
sheet
helpful.
is great.
this is looking really
So,
good.
and I'll try and update this periodically for you, as things move along. Our audit is scheduled this year at the end of October. And so once we get done with the audit work, then we can work on finalizing the contribution of surplus for the following year. And hopefully it'll be over $30,000 and we'll be good. Sophocles, man, he's trying to get all the angles with me, man. So, yeah. Sophocles is the Mr. Optimistic on the projections, and I'm trying to be a little bit Mr.
Tries
you know.
to reel me in.
And because of that, we have a balance, because we don't want to be too conservative, but we don't want to be, too out there either. Got to keep in our minds someday, things may turn around and they may go south, and so I don't want
course.
to be stuck in a position where we promise the world and
agree.
so we want to be able, but we want to make things happen. So,
Well, thank you
And
for
thank
coming.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
any other questions? No.
Very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
So to Vice Chair Idner's point,
Yeah.
yes, I think we need to, have that discussion with Greg. Last month, we talked about coming in with our top 5.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, this is already set. My
It-
top 5, I mean, luckily, most of them are on here.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they weren't,
Well,
You want to talk process is
no,
what you're saying.
I know.
yeah, I want to
Well,
talk about, to Greg, these are the things we think need to be on there. And then he
Okay.
can say yay or nay. Yes, they should be. No, they shouldn't be. We should do this first.
But I think
That's
Maybe
why we're
see
having
why.
that meeting
Well-
tonight, because this isn't,
No, but-
this is
also-
a proposed 5-year.
But it isn't
Right.
about, I think the thing though is to bring it back, just one step is, it's not about specifics, we're talking about how does this line up and when do we have these meetings for our input? The fact of the matter, what became incredibly abundantly clear to me tonight is Greg is doing all of this.
Right.
And then Rudy places it on there. Greg should be coming to us
But yeah.
ahead of
But
where
it
we
is
are
about
now.
Specifics too.
Well,
because
well, it becomes that,
there
but
are
I
some
mean-
very specific
No,
things on
but I mean
16,
for next
17.
year, I want to get
Yeah.
into those tonight, but I want for next year to have a different process. I want
Yeah.
the process to be that long before this, when Greg's having all these discussions and making his plans, he's here. He's here
Yes.
twice. I mean, he comes back as
Sure.
they're, and then we
It-
have, because the discussion we're having tonight really should have happened a couple of months ago, which we kind of knew and we're trying to do, but it
Right.
didn't quite happen the way it should. Okay, that's fine for this year. It is not acceptable for next year.
Well, realize some of the things that are on here came from this body.
They did, but
I
it
mean,
was never discussed.
You-
It was not an
you-
open
It was-
meeting with Greg and a
it was
back and,
never,
yeah.
this is exactly what we want. And I agree. Most of the stuff on here is all needed. It's all good. It's great. But
But
to
there-
that point, to the example of the parking lot, if we're gonna decide that we want to resurface that, why would we do that? We need Greg to sit here and tell us, yes, we should resurface it because, it's gonna cost $300,000 to redo the parking lot the proper master plan way. Otherwise, why did we just do the master plan too? We have a master plan for a reason. Granted, hasn't been adopted yet either. It's
Right,
still got
right.
And
a
this
couple
is
places to go.
this is actually what happened with the picnic structures. The exact same thing.
Exactly.
We got to the point where there was kind of a design and they're about to move forward, and we're like,
Whoa,
like
whoa.
Stop, hold, yeah.
let's make this
Rick's
fit
here
in
and-
with their
Yeah.
plan. And
I just think we need to sit down and talk about it, especially, again, going back to the parking lot. If it's gonna be 50 grand to redo it, great. But if we talk to Greg and he says, yeah, it's actually only gonna be 150 grand to do it per the master plan, why would we not do it? Why would we spend a third of the project, So,
Sure,
that
that's,
discussion needs to happen.
sure, that's legitimate, and, of course, and again, these are documents that are fluid, working
course. Yeah,
documents that
But there
aren't-
is timing and
that
how they're
aren't-
made, and where we plug into the timing in that process,
Don't.
like the last thing I was talking about, is very important. And we're coming in at the end again. I mean, I'm not,
Yeah.
it isn't, I don't have a beef with what they've done. I think it looks pretty good, but we need to have procedures in
Sure.
place on how we're going to do this each year. And that's really, for me, the most important thing to get out of tonight,
Yeah.
is that everyone is clear
I
that we
agree.
won't repeat this year, that we will do it differently next year, and that there is an expectation from this body
Yeah,
when the discussion will happen and how that discussion will happen and then how they'll come back again, because I understand that it's a process that evolves. I don't think you come in and get it right the first time. I think you come in, you have an idea, then we have a discussion, the idea changes a little bit, it gets farther along, they're working with, to put the actual budget in the actual CIP, there are changes, come back again, talk to us again, here's where it's at, it's an update, we have a chance to talk about it. It's a process too, it's also fluid, but we have to be included in it.
Okay. I respect that.
yeah, I would agree. I mean, council came and asked us, hey, what suggestions do you guys have for this surplus?
Yeah.
And
Well,
some of these came from us, but it was never,
It wasn't-
hey, this is what we're gonna.
It was an
this-
indirect path.
This is what we're gonna add on to fiscal year 16, 17, these projects.
sure. It hasn't.
What
well,
if we wanted to put the 10K towards the gymnastics equipment now? You know, now we got to talk to Rudy, or you have to talk
Well,
to Rudy.
isn't it?
5K.
It's not on there?
Well-
Or what do we got?
7,
I think
8.
it is on there.
For next
It's for
year.
next fiscal year.
Oh, but
16,
What
17.
I'm saying is, what if we wanted to add it this year? I'm not advocating for that. I'm
Right.
just stating if we wanted to make a change. Now, you have to go to Rudy. Rudy has to go to Greg. They have to
Well,
go
this-
to this June 14th budget meeting and talk about proposed changes to the CIP.
I think the thing is that we've come back to before, was at that joint meeting, there was a direction from council to give direction on the spending of this money. And we have worked, I would say, somewhat
that didn't happen.
diligently to try and do that and to
Right.
make clear our desires to do that. And there've been a lot of roadblocks. And I understand that some of those roadblocks won't be there next year because we now have a document to look at. The money is more organized. We're going to have a better sense of where it's coming from. But it's still at the end of this process, at least from my perspective sitting here, it was not a satisfying process. And I still don't feel like that we're going to, in the future, do it that differently. And I need to come away with an understanding that procedurally, we're going to tackle this differently next year, because I think we did have direction from council to do a specific thing that we really haven't directly done. It's happening, but we weren't directly involved in that process.
sure. And I would, I sense your frustration with that.
Yeah.
But going forward, I can see myself taking a more proactive approach with our Public Works Director, saying, hey, this is why we're having this meeting, in our top 5 choices, and this is what we want to see on the capital improvement plan. This is what we want to, this is our priorities going forward.
Exactly.
But like you said, most of them are on there, but some discussion obviously does need to
Again,
happen.
he's the
Now as it
expert.
relates to the
So
master
he can
plan.
tell us, yeah, no, we actually need to do the gym floor this year, and we need to do the shade next year, or whatever. He can help guide us.
Coordinated, of course, with this
Exactly. It
body
needs to be a
and our
conversation.
department.
It's, the process part of it.
All right.
Right, I understand the process hasn't been clearly perfect.
Well, let's go a step farther. The process hasn't quite happened.
Yeah,
It hasn't.
well, again,
I know that there were roadblocks in our way, and I will acknowledge those, but I don't want to go away saying it just wasn't great. I would say it didn't happen.
Well, but some of the projects that this body had desire to
I just wanna
have
separate
on
the
the
two-
master plan.
right. We have to separate
I
the
mean, not
difference
on the master
between-
plan, on the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan are on there.
These are two
are.
separate issues.
And
I
I'm
have to
glad they
really
happen to
separate
make it
them.
on there.
Yeah.
This, I don't want to, I'm not talking about the specifics on there. I'm
You're
talking about how we
the
got there,
process.
and the process was not satisfactory.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
And so that's where I want to make sure that procedurally, we figure this out and get it ahead of time, not on our heels again, trying to,
Sure, we can fix it,
okay.
Yeah.
make it better.
Sounds good.
So I think we should discuss when we want to talk about it next year. Because there is a certain timing,
Right.
there is a timing to this process that is every year. It happens in the same certain number of steps. So as a commission, I think we should weigh in on where we would like to plug in. And not just leave
Well,
it to chance.
And I would say Rudy said the audit is in October, so I think we should talk about it.
April?
Start talking about it. I would say before the end of the year.
Well, how about this? Can we agendize to have Greg come discuss with us the best procedure to do this for next year? Because again, he needs to be in the discussion, because he is the key piece to this. And he can do it at the same time he talks to us about the bathrooms, so he doesn't have to come to
Okay,
2 meetings.
when we get to.
Future agenda items?
Future
Yes.
agenda items.
do that.
Let's talk about split, what, inviting him to the next meeting, and specifically what topics
Yeah.
we'd like to see discussed.
CIP planning, okay.
Yeah.
Good,
All right.
okay. Now back to the
So,
details.
Now going back
Oh,
to still.
do you want to
8A.
talk about your, okay,
I think I would still like to know what everybody has as kind of their
Yeah.
5 wish lists,
Top
priority-
5.
top 5
And-
things.
and
And
it-
at least we can get it in the minutes, it's on there,
Does-
and we can see, what the commission as a whole is thinking.
was it based on this other list to just our?
It could be, it could be based on anything.
Anything,
Anything.
right,
I based mine off of that list.
off of
yes.
this list.
Off of
Does
the-
anyone need this list again?
I brought it, but if
like-
anyone wants to look at it.
I have a few, if you need them.
Anyone else?
I'm good.
Just so we can all follow along if they
Yeah.
come off of that list.
I'm good. You need another one?
This is the Park and
You
Rec
can have the big
Commission
pen.
recommended
Oh, thank
project
you.
list
Exactly.
that will eventually go on the 5-year proposed 5-year capital improvement plan. So, anyone
Commissioner
want to start?
Firestone?
I did not do my homework. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay,
No worries.
we appreciate your.
Go ahead.
My 5 in, actually in order. I would say, on the top of my list, it's always gonna be there, is community pool. It's always gonna be there. Number 2, bike park.
Okay, is that on that,
Yep.
list, on the
It's
our
third down.
list? Third one down, oh yeah, under, okay, got it.
Then the workout shade area. Then the Sarasota light poles, and then the skate park lights. And again, most of those are on there, which worked out nicely.
Yes.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, community pool wasn't, and.
That wasn't on there, which
You do keep asking for it.
I'm gonna keep.
It keeps
I'm
not
gonna keep
making it
bringing
on the
up.
list.
I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
Okay,
I'm gonna beat that dead horse.
it's
so,
on
um,
the record
yes.
for sure now, it's.
And I had big and small because I think they're a little bit different. And I didn't rank mine, but I had the pool, skate park lights, bike park.
Hold, just, I'm trying to, I'm putting letters next to your, all right, yeah. So you said community pool, skate park, lights.
Bike park, Sarasota playground, and then the basketball, futsal courts. And if we're dreaming, I think they should be lighted, with lighting. And then smaller were the shade on the patio for more classes and the CrossFit and the Libby bathrooms. Were the
Say that again.
the shade on the patio so you could provide more classes at the Boyd Center between the gym and the main building.
The courtyard
The
shade.
courtyard shade, thank you.
Courtyard shade.
And the CrossFit shade.
Courtyard shade.
And then the Libby
CrossFit. Is CrossFit even on that?
Isn't that
Yeah.
the workout shade area?
workout
it
shade
is.
area.
At the
Mhm.
bottom.
Okay, thank you.
It may be worded differently on the other
No,
sheet
no,
it is.
I-
And then the Libby bathrooms.
But there's no particular order there.
No, I think those are the important projects to me, and they could move up and down depending on possibilities and, what pans out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know why I'm holding you up, because I can always go back, which I do, and watch it on television.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilson.
Right.
Skate park lights being number 1, bike park number 2, community pool definitely on the list. The remodel of the restrooms 4, and the workout area shade 5.
Great. Yeah, some of those items clearly are, well, they're not on the
Commissioner
proposed plan.
Firestone's gonna throw out a couple.
Okay.
So I would say, and I'll focus on I think bigger ones. So bike park,
It's in order of.
not
sorry,
in order of
preference.
yeah, bike park, outdoor basketball, futsal, skate park lights, Lower Libby restrooms, and water element for Sarasota Park.
I like that. That's good. I didn't include that one, but I like that one.
In the tricky, no, that's not tricky, but how that works with the master plan
Yeah.
too.
Right.
The proposed 5-year capital improvement plan, and then when you mention that last one, can you put these elements in pieces like that, and how that will work and the funding for it, but okay.
I think we can.
Well, thank you all for.
Yeah. Thanks for your input.
Yeah.
But do we have any other questions about the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan? Some
Yeah,
of
does
the
any-
other items that are on that?
Does anybody have any, passionate objections to, frankly, to what's on the list that Rudy gave us?
No.
No.
Okay. Commissioner Firestone? No? Maybe?
And I'd say for Sarasota Park, I mentioned the water element. I think there's some thinking there if we're going to spend money towards some of the bigger things in the master plan, just thinking about what, particularly around play stuff. I mean, we were talking already about basketball and futsal. That seems like a high priority, but as far as playground, like all those different play areas and the water, just maybe kind of prioritizing what we do there.
That playground is definitely, I think, something that should be in our near future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get, did we talk about that? The Sarasota playground? Did you, well, I'll go back and look.
I mentioned.
You did.
And on
You
Rudy's
got that
document,
page
it's-
on your is it on his?
It is
on
on
his
there
document.
for 17,
It
18
is
and
there.
18, 19. He's got
Yes.
both in there, so most
And
of
it's,
18,
it's
19.
and it's above and below, because the
Right,
surplus part
exactly.
is just a portion of what that
So-
would take.
It's on the radar at least.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. It'd be nice to have it moved up at least a year, but
Well, and I think that that also is a function of committees and planning and,
of course.
but I think that's why we need to talk about it. I think it's good to talk about it because we need to start to do the groundwork. Because even if it's 18, 19, that is not that far away.
Yeah.
Agreed. And obviously, how we did, based off of what went down with Libby and how the success of it and some of the struggles, I think it's 18, 19 is not that far off. So,
Yeah, so maybe as a note on our agenda items, writing that down too?
I was gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
And maybe-
Because how it, yeah, and how that relates to the Sarasota master plan, because we have several, right, little play areas. It's not
Right.
just one playground,
Right.
it's 3 or 4, or 3.
As well, yeah.
Maybe we should also, during that time, note to self to schedule a facilities, playground/facilities meeting
Yeah.
after budgeting.
Yeah.
So find a
Should
time.
we wait though till the master plan's been fully approved?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but we could, yeah.
We're getting, well.
I know you have an update for that.
I
as
do,
we go.
a little bit of one.
Okay, sorry. I'm just putting a note.
Okay, thanks. We're on the same page.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for 8A? No? All right. 8B, the proposed budget for 16-17. Does anybody have any?
Well, let's hear what Soph wants to tell us.
Yeah.
What do I want to tell you?
Oh, did you? I didn't know.
Yeah, I do.
didn't know.
I do.
you?
I have a bit of an update. If you have any questions about what's been budgeted for 16, 17, if anything jumps out at you as far as programming and staffing costs, and any questions that I can respond to or answer there. As Rudy, Mr. Livingston talked about, we did go conservative on revenues, because if you, let's get to that. So you'll see on page 52, at least of the budget, it shows that we adopted for this current fiscal year, 417. And I just pulled the report out of Springbrook, and at the end of May, we were at 422,529. So you see, we budgeted again on the bottom of page 52, adopted budget 417. We're currently at 422, and active net check, we've actually know that we're getting another $20,000 for the last 2 weeks of May. There's another $20,000 just in those 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of May. Just in credit card revenue was 20,000. So we're actually at 442,000 at the end of May. So you can throw on another 20,000 to the 422 number I gave you. So we're actually at 442 at the end of May. So we still have, clearly, obviously, the whole month of June left for the remainder of this fiscal year. I again, without anyone now to reel me in, I'm gonna say,
Here we go.
I am gonna estimate, and you can potentially hold me to that number. I'm gonna estimate a finish at 510, which is 10,000 less than the previous fiscal, than last year. But where will expenses land?
So help me understand, just,
Yeah.
It's not my strength.
Sure.
We have the actuals for 24-15, and then we have the adopted, the revised, and the proposed. So the proposed budget for 2016-17 is what he's moving forward to the budget workshop.
Yes,
Okay.
441.
I'm looking, I'm
sorry.
just looking at a bigger general picture.
Uh-huh.
And then, so I'm gonna look at the general fund grand totals on page 52 as well, at the bottom.
Okay.
So those are the actual for 14-15, and then you're talking about the adopted, and then, so there's been a bump.
Of whatever that math, 40 or 30 or 24,000?
No, well,
you're
at the
talking about?
the general fund grand total.
the general
has
fund
the-
grand
The
total.
adopted amount is significantly higher for this next budgetary year than it is for this budgetary year or the previous? I've just,
Yeah.
tell me about that.
Well, I wish I could. I don't know
Okay.
what all those numbers, what all that includes.
Because the amount that you're saying that we have as surplus is in direct relationship to the number of the assumption here, correct? I don't get all this
I
stuff,
don't know if
so
I
so if
follow.
I'm totally
Like-
wrong.
Are you talking about the very bottom line or the second from the bottom line?
Talking about the general fund?
Sorry,
general
I mean,
fund
no, I'm
grant
sorry, I was talking at the very bottom line, but what I should be talking about is the recreation, okay.
Okay.
So that one's only
So-
going up, see this, thank you, I tell you,
Yes.
I appreciate it. So we're only increasing our expectations of revenue by,
24,000.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and
you
again, those
noted
are,
that it came in
you're
at
right. And
520.
is
No, I'm
that a
just-
conservative number? Absolutely, because if in 14-15, we were at 520, which you see there at the bottom. You
Yep.
see the 520. And then we adopted a budget of 417. And I think we're gonna, and we revised the budget and kept it at 417. And I'm saying, well, I think we'll end at 510, but then the proposed budget for 16-17 says 441.
Okay.
You're thinking, well, that's 70,000 under than what you're telling us we're going to.
No,
bring
no,
in
no,
this
that's
year.
not, that's
Is that
not
what
where
you're
I'm, that's not
what
where
you're
I'm
saying?
going, but yes,
Oh,
but I hear
okay.
what you're saying, but, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
But yes, we've been very conservative on what revenue numbers will be,
okay,
which is the way we should
I like that.
go.
Definitely.
But it is just, it's better, we're better off that way.
Yeah,
Of course.
for sure.
But when you're totaling numbers on the expenditure side, then you'll look and see on page, then when you get to 107, you'll see, Park and Rec Commission, the cost there. That's my time and was Steve's time, and
Right.
maybe that'll go down a bit, actually. So that pretty much is going to stay constant, or we
Right.
just propose the same amount for 16-17. Actually, funny enough, it went up $10. I'm not sure what that means. And who knows, it could go down just because, again, it's only going to be my time, and maybe now Allison's. But if you add up all those lines, the 6460 in 1501, that's Park and Rec Commission, and then the 289.9 on page 109,
Right.
the 289.90 for 1502, that's basically admin, that's considered admin cost, just for your information. So we all there with me?
Yep.
And then if you go to the last page of 577, 370.
Which is 112.
Is all of 1503, and that's program costs, staff and materials. You can see compared to 1516, that's quite an increase, just to, which I have questions about and a little bit of concerns for, because it went up 80,000.
Right.
So I've been trying to figure out that number myself, why.
Where that is,
Where that
that's-
is.
yeah.
And it's gone up in staffing costs just because of,
That's what I was gonna ask
minimum
you, is
wage.
it-
Well,
yeah.
there was the minimum wage increase, and when we actually just increased the minimum wage, at least in our department, all the all the part-time staff went up 5% when minimum wage went up to $10.
Right.
But I still think that number is intentionally inflated.
Right.
But if you add that number on 112, the 577,370, and you take, that's 1503, and then you take the 289.90 and add that, and then the 6460 and add that, that's the total cost of, if I had brought my phone in with me, I could give you that number right now, but for your own math purposes, add that up, and then you take what our projected revenue number is, which is 441,350 for 16-17, and you take the subsidy of 371 and add those two together,
Right.
what do you have? It's going to look like a deficit.
Yeah.
Truth. But in the end, it won't be.
Right.
Could you explain that? Sorry, I missed that last part.
Did you miss that? In the end, it won't be? Because we've gone very high on expense we've really, and under on revenue, estimations.
Okay.
Estimations on revenue, we've gone under, and estimations on expense, we've gone over.
All right.
That's-
Thank you.
That's the explanation.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Better to say we're going to, I guess, be in the red than not.
Yeah.
Well, there's just, what it says is there's been an increase in costs.
There has. Some actual real costs are.
Yeah.
But if, I don't know, if let me look if
It's
it's,
about a $60,000 deficit is what it's showing when you add up the numbers.
okay. Fair enough. But again, those are because of low estimates on
Of course.
revenue and high estimates on expense.
I don't want to be greedy,
But
but if our 361, the subsidy of
371,
371, sorry.
that's all right.
Subsidy of 371, will that go up as minimum wage goes up and all of the other expenses?
It's a good question. I don't have an answer. It is a great question. I don't have an answer to that. That's good. I will
ask just
Yeah.
off the cuff.
Yes, I will ask. I will
Again, not
ask
to be
because-
great.
No, it's
And-
a,
No,
but
it's
it's
a
a
great
good
question.
question. I mean,
We can look at that subsidy in many ways, or,
I
like,
agree.
but you want the question
What?
asked just to see,
Just a thought.
where's that covered?
Yeah, are we expected to make up the increases, the operating cost increases as we go? And is that going to cut it
without any
increase on-
consideration for an increase in the
Right.
general fund subsidy?
Right.
That's a
would-
great and valid question.
So,
I will ask that question.
thank you.
You've asked it.
Any other questions regarding the budget? No? All right. Thank you, Sal.
Sure.
Staff reports.
Oh, gosh, we've got so many updates.
I know.
Where do I begin? So, Ojai bike proposal update, we'll start there.
Sounds good.
We do have a company secured to do the environmental study, so that is in the works or in process. So I don't have a timeline for you to say, hey, that project or that study is going to be completed on this date.
Do we know how long the study's going to
That's
take?
moving forward. I do not have that. But
Are
I'll-
they continuing
I'll
to
try
have
to get that
meetings?
answer.
I don't know. I don't even have a clue. That's why I was asking.
Is the organization been having meetings?
The Ojai Bike Coalition?
Yeah, have you had any meetings with them?
Me personally with the Ojai Bike Coalition, no, I have
Okay.
not.
Do you know if
And
there's
I don't
somebody-
know, have you been invited?
My
to
sense
any
is
of
that
those?
they're just waiting for the environmental study.
Okay.
Is there a description of the study that's available, or?
No.
There wasn't an,
It is, I would definitely put it in its infancy stage. I think they're actually, tell you the truth, still trying to work out the details of what that study
that
is going to
entails.
entail.
yes, okay,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, it's that much in the beginning stage.
Got it.
With how involved and what
Yeah, with the-
parts is gonna cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know, I mean, for the next meeting, like what, if that scope is ironed out, like what it is as a,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
how
might
long
be,
this-
yeah, that's really a planning department,
so I guess we're asking for an update from you, from planning.
sure.
Thank you. I think it might be a good idea, though, to meet with them again, even if it's just a,
okay.
You're
things are,
asking
well,
Commissioner Firestone
yes,
with the
and
coalition.
maybe,
Right.
and yeah, you too, do you want to, because you're on the committee,
I would
maybe
love
just
to hear
do a
more.
check-in with them and see where
Yeah.
things are going and
Okay.
how,
I
because there's
would-
two sides to it.
And I would
Yeah,
ask.
because they have their own fundraising too.
I would ask about the fundraising,
Yes.
if it's taking place at all.
I know that's been a question at previous meetings of just fundraising
Yeah, exactly.
probabilities and stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious as to if it's taking place at all, if they're waiting for the city, because if the city comes back with a favorable report and we can move forward, I mean, hopefully we don't then in turn wait another few months as they try to gather their 2/3 of whatever
I think
they
it's-
decided it might be.
I'm just looking back on it kind of from the skate park perspective, and they're just, for a while, they were just continual meetings.
Right.
Even when there wasn't a specific update to the idea, it was just keeping the conversation open, and I think it might be good.
Mhm.
I agree. Yeah, being part of the skate park meeting, skate park development, when the community knows more, and the board knows more, the project seems to
Yeah, has more momentum.
correct, yeah.
Yeah, and I know Toby's constantly putting it on Facebook, and it's always on, all the net community forums on Facebook and whatnot. And maybe ask them if they're doing anything at Ojai Day during the bike valet and whatnot, just to raise awareness about the bike park as well. Just a thought.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Yep.
Open house?
Open house. Let Allison
Yes.
speak to open house. She really spearheads that whole event.
It's my baby. I think the open house went fantastic. I'm excited to hear your guys' input. It was great to have, I think, all of you. I'm not sure that I saw
I don't-
you there,
no, I
but
wasn't.
saw a lot of our commissioners there, which was fantastic. Just a couple little updates of things that went well. The stage was a fantastic idea. I was telling Sage, I'm glad you guys encouraged that. It was a little bit more work up front on our end, but it ended up being really, really good. We got great feedback from it. And it was really cool to be able to have the five-a-side trophy ceremonies on there. I think it definitely brought in a lot more people that wouldn't necessarily have crossed over that walkway. There's somehow a boundary there that people don't want to cross, but it brought everybody over, which was great. The rock wall was total hit. It was packed the whole time, line all the way up until they closed it. Again, we had the office open to take registration. I just looked today, we took in over $2,000 worth of registration just in that day alone. So that was really cool. That was fun. Ended up with 9 instructor booths and got good feedback from all the instructors. They had good conversations with people. What our CrossFit instructor said, I think he signed up 3 different people on the spot at his booth. We had 5 different demos on the stage. We also did a dodgeball game inside. I don't know if anybody even kind of got a chance to pop their head in and see that. Our staff, Garrett, who runs our drop-in dodgeball on Friday nights, ran it. I popped my head in at one point and told him to wrap it up in 10 minutes, and there were 30 kids in there, and they were just having a grand old time. So we're definitely going to try and do that again next year, and maybe even something similar, a couple different games in the NPR. But yeah, so we had a great event. We sold out of pizza and just about everything, and had a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for all your help.
We had some nice a couple of giveaways.
Oh yes, the raffle was definitely a
The
big hit as well.
raffles, yeah, I don't have all the sponsor names here, but some of our local ones, Sea Fresh,
Mm-hmm.
Bliss, Ojai Pizza,
Yeah.
So we really thank those. Those are the three that immediately, Mob Shop.
Yep.
Had-
Patagonia, Real Cheap Sports, Eno, the hammock company. There's a lot of them, and I love like just like standing at the welcome table and like listening to people that come up. Like, really, it's a free raffle. Like,
Yeah.
people are fully ready to pay for raffle tickets, but the fact that it's free, people are blown away by.
Maybe
So
we should put out a donation bowl as
Well,
well.
yeah. Well, we had also same situation with the food. You know, people
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
coming up with their money to get the pizza. So I think it's a
people really
free
appreciate
event is
it.
what we do. But
No, it's a
the
lovely community
donation-
event. I like
the
it.
donation bucket
Yeah.
might not be a bad idea. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah,
It was a lovely event. You guys did a great
Yeah,
job.
thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, to all the
Nice work.
staff. Yeah, big team effort. You're welcome. Yeah, it was great. Program and class updates. Okay, so our activity guide being mailed out has just been fantastic. We've had people call us and say, wow, I didn't even know you guys did any of these things or any of these programs.
Or I didn't know you
existed.
exist.
So the risk.
Yeah, is that even exist?
Literally.
Like, seriously.
Where's
that-
Sarasota Park?
But that is
Yeah.
wonderful. So the risk
Yeah.
paid off. That was, you're
It
getting a
did.
good return on that. That's great.
Gary's already he told me today, was thanking
he
us
has a lot
for
of
the
seniors.
mailing of the
Oh,
activity guide.
good.
Our senior weight training instructor, Gary Ryan.
Yeah.
He has 4 new
Excellent.
senior participants because of it.
Great.
So, and they're up to 11 regular participants, and he said really all he can take is a max of 12.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
So you might have to,
So,
maybe he'll add another section.
A wait list or another day, or I don't know, but he did. For those watching, it's Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
That's great.
At the park, Sarasota
That's,
Park.
that's so
Yeah.
good to hear. And it's,
Yep.
and for all those people who called, there are a dozen who didn't call but had the same reaction. And so I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and those new participants are talking to their friends
Right.
about it. So yeah, he might have to add more days and times because anyway. It's really-
One thing to note on the program updates and stuff.
Yeah.
Real quick. Then we went to use the new online system, which
Uh-huh.
works very easily, by the way.
Yeah, good.
But there's no place to put in your gift certificate.
That is true. We're working on a new gift card system that I'm not sure if I'm hoping we're going to be able to incorporate that because it's actually through ActiveNet. So our gift certificates are something that we do separate.
Right.
It's not really involved,
The
it's
hard
not
part is
incorporated
then that person
ActiveNet.
has to come into the office to
Yeah.
use that, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Ye-
So we're working on transferring to gift cards rather than gift certificates.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that when we do that, we'll be able to have that option.
You're right. It is an inconvenience when we do that because there isn't an avenue to be able to put in a gift card code or gift
Other
certificate
than that, the
code.
new
or-
online system was really nice.
Yeah, good.
So and the links and everything were great.
Excellent.
Sorry, just
No, it's a good side note because we are wanting to move to gift cards. We know it's another good feature to offer and to add when birthdays come or holidays or anything. Those, just having them there for purchase will be fantastic. So it's on our radar. That's for sure. And then we won't even have to do the recreation department made homemade ones. We'll have it all digital.
Perfect.
Yeah. Our last movie night was just this last Friday, and we had our record numbers. We had 62 kids
Wow.
show up. Yeah.
Wow.
Normally we're in the 30 to 40 range. I think part of it was the movie. I don't know. It was Inside Out.
Oh, yeah, that is a good movie.
It's a good movie.
That'll do it.
We have, is it the fourth Friday of every month?
I believe it is, yep.
Yeah, so the fourth, just like dodgeball is the first and third Friday, movie nights, parent night out movies are the fourth Friday of the month. So the next one will be June 24th, Ratatouille, another great animated movie. So yeah, we're really pleased with the turnout. And again, I have to say, some of it has to do with this guide being
Getting it in the
mailed.
mailbox. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence. That's all I can say is that we had 62 kids show up and at this.
Good job getting it done.
Yeah. aquatics program, and just want to mention that we're of course taking registration for all summer programs, but I just want to say for everyone that's watching, and just for your reference, it'll be at Villanova Pool again. The program runs from June 20th, as the day camp starts as well, but goes from June 20th to 7/28. So that's a 6-week program. Anything you want to add there, Allison? We offer family
super
pass.
fun.
Yeah, family. Yeah, family.
It's a really nice
swim-
pool.
Family swim pass for $80 for the 6 weeks. Single pass goes for $40, and that we do we did add private.
Yeah. We've added private lessons,
Private
this,
lessons?
this season.
Great idea.
Yeah. and
We've
we
gotten
already-
requests a couple times in the past.
Well, 'cause
and-
we had driven before to do that in
Yeah.
Ventura. Because we had a time frame, we needed to do something, and I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I've
So we'll see how it
noticed
goes. We
we've
have a
already
little bit
had
of registration,
Little bit.
not a ton. They're not full
Nope.
yet,
Yeah.
but
None of the classes are, but I would encourage people to come in and register for these classes because some of
getting
them.
hot.
aquatics are getting full. They're,
Okay.
a couple of the classes are getting there.
And you guys are fully staffed, no problem?
Yep,
We are now, yep.
2 to 5-year-olds, they're the biggest, they're the
Oh, yeah.
the most,
The largest group?
the largest group, so I would,
Lot of
again,
them.
encourage people to come in and,
Yeah.
so they don't end up on a wait list.
Great.
Just a few non-recreation department activities that are going on. You can see the music festivals are obviously coming up. That'll be June 9th through the 12th. You can, for tickets to any of those, you can go to ojaifestival.org. The Ojai Education Foundation and the Ojai Youth Foundation are having a golf fundraiser at Soul Park. They're still looking for golfers, so if you'd like to be part of that fundraiser, you can go to ojaigolfclassic.com to register and be at that fundraiser. That is on, did I mention June 4th? Yeah, June 4th. This coming
That's this
Saturday.
Saturday.
That is this Saturday, in 2 days. But they will take golfers for that tournament. And then our own Commissioner Gilbert, that's why she's not here tonight. She's actually in a performance, on stage probably right now, 7:00. That was, so there's performances tonight, tomorrow night, and then a matinee on Sunday. No, that wouldn't be Sunday. That'd be Saturday matinee. But you can go to nordhoffdrama.org to get tickets for that event at Nordhoff High School. The play is You Can't Take It With You. Okay, that's all I have for program and class updates. Allison, did you have anything to add?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Master plan?
Master plan. That master plan is going to go for review before the Planning Commission on July 6th. Once again, I have no phone with me, so I don't know. So July 4th is
It's usually a Wednesday, isn't it?
Monday, so that is
It is.
a
That's a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
If they're a
So-
Wednesday meeting.
Our meeting's on the next
Yeah.
night.
Who doesn't bring their phone with them everywhere these days? So yeah, that'll be on Wednesday, July 6th. And then before the HPC, Historic Preservation Commission, on July 21st, Thursday, July 21st. So probably would be good for, well, I'll be there, and so I'm gonna obviously invite Community Works to those meetings. And the scope of what they'll be doing is just giving it a review, and I'm sure they'll have some input on the plan itself. Maybe not on the elements that are in the plan, but more logistics of
Yeah.
how the layout is and some other whatever those mitigating factors might be that we haven't necessarily accounted for. I can just one topic is with historic preservation. I imagine the Boyd Center come up in that conversation
Sure
and
will.
what the long-term history of that
Mhm.
facility or that building will be, and how it will be affected by the master plan.
Of course. Okay.
But those have been scheduled for July.
Well, if anybody on the
That's
commission
all. Any comments about
would
that?
like to attend, I would encourage it.
Yeah.
I'll
It'd be
definitely
nice
try.
to be there.
I'll be
'Cause-
driving again, so I'm gonna try. Commissioner vacancies.
Yes, you probably know a little bit about what's going on, but, so the appointments are through, or the interviews are with the chair,
Correct.
yourself, the mayor and the mayor pro tem.
Correct.
So, what our new records manager needs from our chair is schedule of availability. We have four candidates
Right, and I
for
believe,
for the two seats.
Well, there's more than that, though.
Well, there is,
correct.
we just need,
There are
yes, that,
Just, yeah.
yes, for clarification, yes, both Commissioner Firestone and Vice Chair Entner, you need to reapply or
Mhm.
resubmit your
has
paperwork.
been
I don't
done.
know if you,
The
Yes.
paperwork's all in. Now we're just
Paperwork
waiting
is
for
in.
the interviews.
Yes.
yeah.
And my
And
understanding
I know
is.
Miss Gilbert as well, actually still needs to submit. I think she's up for submitting her paperwork
We
too.
just seated
I
her.
don't think she is.
Well, I don't know, our record manager said.
I will.
Okay,
I
that's
will
something to
double check.
follow up on too, yeah.
And I know it's being discussed, I believe, at the June 14th City Council as well, the appointment
The
process.
process.
The appointment
Okay.
process, yeah.
So,
But I don't think it's being approved, from what I understand and what I've been told, it's not.
That's just the beginning of the discussion.
It's more of a consent, it will be a consent item.
correct.
Actually. Once you've selected your candidates, it will be a consent item, not be brought before before council to then.
Oh, so is the process
Interview
coming
them.
before them, or are the candidates coming before them?
On the 14th,
Yeah,
the process is.
itself
From
Yeah.
what,
is being reviewed.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
From what Cheryl told me, the process is being reviewed on the 14th.
okay.
so do you have her email or she
Yes,
has
we
pretty-
spoke the other day.
Oh, great. So she's just fantastic. She's just looking for your,
I was asking her the same
schedule.
thing. What is
and she,
the holdup?
yeah, well, she said just the holdup is scheduling the meetings
It's-
now,
yeah.
or to scheduling the interviews. And the request is to do all four interviews, all four candidates at one time, one
Yes.
day. They're about a half hour each, so.
Yeah.
There's the math there, a couple hours.
Which, soon is the answer.
Soon.
Soon, as soon as the three
Yeah, as soon as we can all get together.
schedules could get
I know we were waiting for
coordinated.
the new records manager to come on board. And so that was
Yeah,
some of
that
the-
was, yeah.
that was the
that's-
main holdup.
Sure.
All right. Any other
Yep.
information
Nope,
on staff reports?
no, just,
All right.
just get that scheduled together.
All right.
Yeah.
Commissioner reports, comments? Anybody have anything? I had one, which was the interviews. And the other one that I would say we kind of fallen off, and I don't know if we want to put together, if somebody wants to take the ball on this and run with it, is the meeting with the county regarding Soul Park. Mr. McCleary had set that up, said we can move forward with it. That was a couple months ago.
Well, he had the meeting, I think. So
No,
do we
he
want to
did,
have a
but
meeting with him?
We were gonna meet with them regarding joint use.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's something we want to entertain yet. I don't know if that's something
How do we want
the
to do
rec
it?
staff would like to entertain in terms of possible programming out there. I know Allison has,
I was just at that park a couple of days ago. Man, there's so much potential.
I
out
know,
there.
so much untapped potential. So my question is, do we want to entertain that now? Do we want to get up to full staff and then see if somebody else wants to jump in with Allison or Sophocles on that?
Do you want
How
to,
do we want to do that?
do you want to use an existing committee to start it?
We could.
Because facilities and playgrounds is a place that we could have a meeting with that as the topic.
To-
And maybe organize part of this and then come back. and then present what comes out of there, and then see how to go forward.
Correct. We could do that, but we don't have, the facilities committee is,
Oh, you're not on that one. I'm the only person left on that one.
correct, I believe.
Because it was,
Robert.
it was
Jump in
you,
on it, yes.
Robert, and then staff.
Right.
Well, we could do it a different way. I'm just thinking it might be something that might be easier to narrow down into a subcommittee, or you know,
I would
a
agree.
committee to start thinking about it and then bring it back and have a discussion about it and then move forward.
I would agree. I don't think, yeah. It's
well,
an agenda item. I would definitely think, yeah, a subcommittee can meet with the gentleman from the county, or we could talk to staff first and then.
I think
can
we talk
meet
to staff first.
and see
We
what
organize
plans-
ourselves, hear what we've already heard.
I know Alice has got some ideas for the park.
Yes.
and then, yeah, I can go back to Mr. McClary too and
Exactly.
find out, you know, where was it left? You know, where were we at? You know,
Right.
I think they were receptive to.
They were
Yeah,
very
that's
receptive.
what-
They weren't, yeah, they were receptive to a joint use,
Yeah.
so.
And what will that mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
So do you want to wait till we get to full staff? Because I
We have you on facilities in the minutes. Should we change that?
that's fine.
We
So
can
wanna
change.
roll with that?
I'm good with that,
Okay.
but everyone else, I mean, we can weigh in as a group here.
Does anybody else really want to jump on it in terms of, or jump in on that meeting?
I mean, if the three of us
For
want to
your
meet and
end,
talk
right?
about it, yeah.
Okay. So, that's fine. We can meet on the three of us.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll get that.
So we'll set a meeting for that,
Yeah. That was the only other thing I wanted to make sure it didn't fall off.
Okay.
the radar.
Any other, before we move on, any other reports, comments?
I have a comment about fundraising. The Ojai Skate Park Committee has met with the Carpinteria Skate Park Committee in time past, and they're having an event tomorrow at a coffee house, Lucky Llama Coffee House in Carpinteria. They're going to be raffling artwork and
Oh.
different stuff like that. So I just wanted to mention in a skateboard community kind of thing, there's some fundraising going on for a new skate park up there.
In Carp.
In Carpinteria,
Nice.
yeah, it's going to be, well, the proposed site is where the previous skate park was at the Amtrak
Right.
station there.
Yeah.
There's been planning and some mock-ups that have gone in the past couple of years, so I think this is their kind of fundraising push to get stuff rolling. So
Nice.
Great.
Good for
any
them.
fundraising stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
My report is that I'm going to call it the Livyville Festivals Committee, because it has a really long name. I'm shortening it for the moment. Has had a meeting. We're going to meet twice a month. We're really just getting organized at this point, but I will have more next month.
Is Miss Young on that committee? I'm
Yeah,
assuming,
she's staff to the
obviously.
committee. Mhm.
Excellent. Okay, good. All right. City Council Liaison is Councilwoman Clapp. Not here.
On that, we haven't had
It's,
someone here in
Like 3 months?
3-4 months.
right,
Yeah.
it's been the same council member for the last 3 months.
Mhm.
That's,
Yes.
I would say what?
It was,
it was Mayor Blatz before.
right, but
You-
it was
It switched.
Commissioner Clapp for the last three, and I'll look into it.
I believe it
without
should change next month, right?
It does.
Isn't
It will.
It will?
It
Right, so
will.
it's quarter.
The
So it will.
rotation.
So I can't answer to the absences
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah.
juncture.
Yeah, it is. I think it's helpful when we have a council
It
member
is.
here.
When
so
Mayor Blatz was here,
we
yeah,
can
giving some of the updates.
encourage
That was
it. Be good.
Yes, so I'll inquire.
great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I did want to, speaking of council meetings, we got the budget, the budget workshop, if you don't mind me adding this
Go for it.
upcoming council meeting
14th?
agendas that you might be interested in.
Mhm.
June 14th, the budget workshop, 6 PM here in council chambers. It does say on that agenda, commission reports. So if you do want to give your input, that would be the time at that meeting. And obviously it'll only be an hour for it before the actual regular meeting, for the regular council meeting. So hopefully there'll be time enough for everyone to speak on their commission's
Yeah.
behalf and all the questions and comments even council's gonna have regarding
course.
the budget.
So is anyone planning on going to that?
I'm not sure that I can.
I'm gonna try if I can get around.
Yeah, I'll be in town, so I can know that it's on.
Also at that meeting, as I think you've mentioned, it'll talk about the commission appointments or how that's going to be done, the process. And then the commission, they're gonna go over commission's roles and responsibilities too, at that meeting.
On the 14th.
On the 14th. Yeah,
It's part of
in the
that
regular
discussion.
meeting as part of a discussion item, yes. And then, well, this is gonna be for future agenda items, because we have our joint meeting on August 9th, but
Oh, is that our date? Okay.
it's, the Tuesday, August 9th, the first council meeting in August. We have that joint meeting from 6 to 7, but sorry,
We'll talk
that's,
about that, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
soon.
So future meeting dates, July 7th is our regular meeting. And agenda items.
Agenda items. I have a list.
Okay.
So Greg here. Well, I would like to have Greg here to discuss CIP planning process for next year / budget, however we want to talk about that, because they're linked together. And then the bathroom project. And then we wanted to talk about the playground at Sarzodi. Bring that up as an agenda item. And it comes back to the committees, starting the meetings, but that'll all be part of the detail of that process, I think. So those were the three that I had.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just, obviously, these three things are
All related.
all related to.
But the
Greg.
two, yes, I think separate them out into, so for Greg, have him here to talk about the CIP budgeting process for next year as one bullet point. The bathroom specifically as a discrete project would be another bullet point for me. And then a third bullet point would be the playground
Right.
at Sarzodi.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, just so we,
sure.
Bike park update,
that's a good idea.
As a discussion item or just as
just as an update.
an update, sure. I think we're probably all in agreement that will be on a standing staff report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will.
Okay.
We will absolutely have it on there.
That's all I had.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Great.
Anything else?
Oh, do we want to have a discussion about the agenda for, or discussion items that we want for the joint meeting?
That needs to be agendized.
Yeah.
Because
That makes sense.
Yes.
that will be our last opportunity, I guess, before the joint meeting.
Right.
Although, no, it won't.
We'll have one more before
We'll
that.
have one,
Yeah.
a couple days,
Days
a
before,
few days
yes.
before the joint meeting, and we'll have another Park and Rec Commission meeting
Right.
before the joint meeting.
Right.
But we'll want to agendize
For
for,
July.
I would
Yes.
recommend,
Definitely.
Yeah.
We should.
what we want to discuss, what we
Correct.
want to bring forward to them.
We did last year,
Yeah.
and it was very helpful.
I think
Yes.
the other thing we could do, well, we'll talk about it then. Never mind.
It's
Yes.
almost like a State of the Union.
It is, yeah,
In a way,
essentially.
State of the Recreation.
Yeah, it seems like also though, if we're interested in kind of improving process going forward, like
That's time to talk about
that'd
it.
be
Yeah.
a good thing to be
I
talking about.
think you're absolutely right.
So yeah, for the July meeting, definitely should be one of the discussion items, and then and as well as everybody come with some ideas for our joint meeting, what we want to discuss with council, stuff we want to bring up. We only have an hour.
Yep.
So
Yes.
it's a pretty firm hour. So
Very.
Take 5 minutes, just an introduction and,
exactly. And
Yeah.
we'll go through it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Anything else? Anybody? All right. Thanks. Adjourn.
All right.